6 PM, July 25th, 2018. I'd like to open the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for this evening. I'd like to announce that this meeting is being televised live on local Mashpee TV. So next, if we could all rise, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Ron Bonvy is absent tonight, so sitting on tonight's first hearing will be our three regular board members, as well as I will have Sharon and Jim. So we'll have Brad sit out this particular hearing. So Sharon, would you read the first continued hearing?
540 Great Neck Road South, petitioner William R. Haney requested an administrative appeal to the building commissioner.
Excuse me, your mic must not be on, it's signaling us that they can't hear you.
Ooh, maybe a little too far away, that's all. Start again.
540 Great Neck Road South.
Yep.
Petitioner William H. Haney requested administrative appeal to the building commissioners concerning a cease and desist of a heliport under Article 174-17, Article 174-22, and Article 174-25 of the zoning bylaws on property located in an R3 zoning district, map 99, parcel 40-0, Mashpee, Mass. Owner of record, Mary E. Zaki. Continued from July 11, 2018, hearing at the request of the board.
Hi.
Good evening, members of the board. For the record, Brian Wall, I represent the petitioner. I understand from an email from Mary Ann earlier this week that you have not yet heard back from town council on this, and that there's going to be a need for further continuance. And I did say the last time I was here, I would agree to that.
Okay, sounds good. Do we have some paperwork we
Yep.
need to sign off?
We just need to
Make a motion.
Make a motion, and what date you want to continue till.
Let's, why don't we do the same thing? We'll try for the next one, which will be,
August 22nd.
that's the next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a motion
To
to,
continue,
till August 22nd.
Is that a motion?
well, I'm going to.
Oh.
I'm going to make a motion that we continue petitioner William Haney, 54 Great Neck Road South, till August 22nd. Do you want to read what it up, the whole thing is for?
Yeah, why not?
His request for an administrative appeal to the building commissioners concerning a cease and desist of a heliport under section 174-17, 174-22, and section 174-25 of the zoning bylaws on property located in an R3 zoning district, map 99, parcel 40, Mashpee, Mass. Owner of record Mary E. Zaki.
Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye. Okay.
Pardon?
I don't have any motion, things.
It's okay.
Okay, so just wait on the next one.
Yeah, yeah.
No problem.
Wing it,
Pretty good at it.
wing it.
I'm learning the whole ropes of winging it.
Yeah.
No pun intended on that application.
Exactly.
Very good.
I didn't say rotary with me.
Does he have to sign it too?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Sharon, would you read the next new hearing?
401.
Council still has to sign.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
401 Monomoskoye Road, petitioners Robert and Donna Roach. Trustees request an administrative appeal to the building commissioner under Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Article 8 and Article 15. The trustees seek the zoning board of appeals to overturn the building commissioner's decision to allow for the construction of a lavatory in their detached garage. In the alternative, the trustees request the Board of Zoning, the Board of Appeals to grant them a finding to allow them to install a lavatory in their detached garage under Article 174-24K on property located in R3 zoning district, map 124, parcel 64, Mashpee.
Hi.
Good evening. For the record, Brian Wall. I represent Mr. and Mrs. Roach, who are with me here tonight. And this is both an appeal of a decision by the building commissioner and, in the alternative, a request for a finding to allow this lavatory. So by way of background, my clients purchased a vacant piece of property at 401 Monomoskoye Road last August. The property is in an R3 residential zoning district. After they purchased the property, they submitted and they obtained a building permit from the building department, which gave them permission to construct a 4-bedroom dwelling with a 2-car detached garage. Mr. Roach intends to use the garage for purposes of a workshop, for storing lawn and garden equipment, and also for storing some antique motor vehicles. He seeks to have a lavatory, basically a 3-foot by 10-inch by 8-foot bathroom with a toilet and a sink, for purposes of washing up after he does his yard work and after he works on his antique motor vehicles. When the plans were submitted to the building department, the bathroom was shown in the detached garage. But the building department issued a permit with a condition that said the plans are approved but without the lavatory. Construction is underway. So what we did to try to resolve the matter is, a couple of weeks ago, we had an appointment with Mr. Mendoza. And Mr. Mendoza very respectfully and politely told us that because lavatories are not expressly set forth in the use table, it was his position that they were not allowed. And so we have an appeal, and we respectfully disagree with him. And I submitted a letter explaining our reasons. But the reasons are actually very straightforward and simple. In an R3 residential district, under section 174.25, capital A1 in your use table, single-family dwellings are allowed as of right. And under section 174.25I1, detached garages are allowed as an accessory use as of right. So the garage is allowed under a building permit with no relief from zoning whatsoever. And it's our contention that putting a bathroom in the garage does not change the nature of the garage. It's a garage without a bathroom. It's a garage with the bathroom. And therefore, we think it is expressly authorized under the bylaw and that the building commissioner's decision could be overturned. In the alternative, we make a second argument which says that under your zoning bylaw, if there is a use that is substantially similar to the allowed uses, you can make a finding to allow that use even though it is not expressly listed in your table of uses. And again, the argument is very similar to the one I just made. The single-family dwelling and the garage are both allowed as of right under your table of uses. There's really no exterior or actual functional difference between a garage that has a bathroom versus a garage that does not. And and we would respectfully submit and ask you to make a finding that the laboratory can be there. Now, I think there might be a concern, what we lawyers call a slippery slope. Oh, if you have a bathroom, it could all of a sudden become a dwelling or an apartment. But I think if you look at the plans, which are submitted as part of the materials, the garage is designed as a garage. It has two open ends. It has an area on the second floor for storage. That particular area is accessed by pull-down stairs. There's really nowhere in the garage that someone would turn into an apartment. And moreover, under your definitions, a living dwelling area is an area that has separate spaces for a bedroom, for cooking facilities, and for a bathroom. And adding a bathroom to a garage falls way short of a dwelling unit with cooking facilities and sleeping areas. So I would respectfully submit the board could feel comfortable allowing this without any fear that there would be some sort of surreptitious apartment being put into the property. That's our presentation. We would ask the board to hopefully choose one or the other of our requests.
Go right ahead.
Okay, in my reply, yes, we did meet. We discussed the possibilities and the options here. And as Counselor, said, a garage is a garage, but what if, and I'm not saying this is what we're going to do it, but what happens if an applicant came to my office and instead of a bathroom, they wanted to put a kitchen in there? What gives me the authority to do that? There's nothing in the bylaw. So I feel the correct process was to meet the applicants halfway by giving them the permit for the house, holding off on the garage until this issue was addressed. Or did we grant the permit for the garage subject to too many permits under my belt? The foundation went in, I think.
I think it's currently underway.
Yes.
The way we understand it was the plans showed the house and the garage, and you approved all of it, except there was a typewritten phrase that said, no bathroom in the garage.
Correct, on that. So, but what I'm getting at the point is my authority under the zoning bylaws, to enforce as well, what if it wasn't a bathroom, it was in a kitchen? Would that still give me the right to grant it? And I says, well, there's nothing here that tells me I can. And we've addressed these sort of issues in the past, whether it's a kitchen, bedroom, a bathroom. Where's my authority? There is none that grants me that authority under the bylaw. And as Counselor respectfully said, this is what it is, what the plan shows. Well, we all know that plans have changed, things have happened where things get built after the fact, and sometimes the town finds out about it right away, or maybe sometime down the road that things change, and that's another issue I have to contend with. So basically, I'm looking at this as a two-point issue. One, I'm looking for the board to uphold my reason for denial on granting this permit for the bathroom, but to me, it makes more sense for the applicant to apply under Section K for matters not covered that the board can rule on, which to me I feel is a more middle ground to go by. That way, if the board wishes, they can put conditions, that sort of deal on it. That way, at least there's something on record. So that's my position.
I agree that Mike wasn't able to prove it with the bathroom, the way the bylaw is written, and that's why it's here. There has been a problem with people saying they're just gonna put in X into a space, next thing you know, it's a guest house. So I, as one board member, have no problem with the bathroom going in the garage, zero. I have a problem with it becoming a finished space as a guest house. It's a garage, it's not a guest house. That's what the application, that's what the plans say it's a garage, that's what they're applying for. I would like to see a condition to allow the bathroom, but you can't finish the space as a living space, a bedroom, a guest house, that type of idea, because that's happened to us in the past. We've approved spaces to be finished. Next thing you know, there's a kitchen in there, there's bedrooms, and they turn it into a two-bedroom guest house over a garage.
It's happening all over the Cape,
Yeah.
all over Mashpee.
So I don't have a
All
problem with
sorts of
bathroom.
illegal stuff.
It's a
We've gone down this road many times.
And I sincerely appreciate that, but I also think you can't, I respectfully say you can't hold an applicant to say, we're not gonna give you something because we think you're gonna violate the law. But we have no problem with the condition, as Board Member Goldston said. And I would hearken to your definitions. For example, apartment. Apartment says, and this is right out of your bylaw, any room or suite of rooms forming a habitable unit for one family with its own cooking and food storage equipment, its own bathing and toilet facilities, and its own living, sleeping, and eating areas.
Good bathing
So I
now.
think if the condition said something like, the plans can be incorporated because the plans show a garage with a bathroom, and a condition that says no further alteration without further relief from the board, or a prohibition of installing cooking and sleeping facilities so that it cannot become an apartment, that's fine with my client, because my client simply wants a bathroom in his garage.
If they were trying to put this in the second floor in the loft, I said, something's fishy going on. Where the plan shows it on the first floor, am I correct? I think the guy wants to have a garage, wants to have his cars out there, wants to work on it, there's one about the back of the house. I have no issue with it, as one board member.
I agree with my colleague. I don't have an issue with it as long as we condition it pretty heavily to make sure that we have the language in there to protect against finishing it and turning it into a guest house. I don't know.
But if you want to go through K, that route, you've got to first rule on my denial of the permit.
I also agree with my colleague that we would not overturn your administrative.
All right, because I think, because there's there's two issues here. So I want to make sure for legal purposes that the i's are dotted and t's are crossed. So you got two, you have to vote on one, and then you got the other. So that's, I want to be clear.
As one member would uphold your ruling and deny the appeal of your ruling as one member. And then I would consider, as one member again, allowing a finding for the bathroom with some significant conditions in the motion.
We've done this before, and we've known what's happened. Stuff's been put in, and X number of months later, right around the corner from Sharon's house, want to put in a bedroom, all of a sudden it turns into a full-fledged apartment for in-laws in the summer. I'm also afraid about setting a precedent here. Once you get down there and once you say, yeah, you can put in a bathroom, well, I also want to take a shower. I want to be able to put a shower in there. And then all of a sudden, this open space that's got a pull-down, X number of months, weeks, years later, now has steps.
This is approved, this should be approved
So,
as a half bathroom.
let me finish. Again,
Well, there's no shower.
Okay, all right, just one.
Yeah, that's what the plan shows.
you know, if this garage was attached to the house, part of the house, I'd have no problem. I cut my grass 3 times a week. Do I have to go in the bathroom? I go in the house. Honestly, I'm not buying that one. If I want to wash up, I go right inside. So,
Well, like I said, Mr. Roach has some collectible cars. And
that's great. That's fine, but
hang out in the garage.
what is it, a 20-yard walk?
Well, with all due respect, I don't think that's the test. And I think that if a person wants to build a house that they want to have, that fits their needs and their wants and desires, it's really not for us and the Board of Appeals to get into that type of thing. And I appreciate your concerns about future possibilities, but the fact.
Also
is,
setting a precedent, that's the real issue here.
But I think, and I appreciate what Mr. Mendoza is saying about that, is that he's asking for you to back him up on his decisions that the bylaw does not allow this, so that he can tell other people, you can't have this by right, you have to go to the Board of Appeals. And by going to the Board of Appeals, there's gonna be a permit that's gonna be recorded on the chain of title that's gonna say, knock on wood if you grant this, a bathroom is allowed, no shower, can't be turned into a dwelling, no one can live in this garage. It's a detached garage with a bathroom. And we're fine with all those conditions.
I just have a question. It says to install a lavatory. How would you describe a lavatory? Would that be a half bath, which is just a
Well,
toilet
It
and?
shows a toilet, sink.
The plan, we're gonna see it, that we condition as per the plan, so it just shows a sink and a toilet, it doesn't show a shower.
I think
And we can
that's.
approve it as that.
Once that plumbing's in, it's in.
Yes, but you can't just throw a shower next to it, it doesn't work like that. You can't just throw a shower in these, I mean, you can put anything in
You
after.
can't retrofit it in a year?
No, you have to bust up the floor and get a new drain, no, to do it to code, no. Well, you can do anything after the fact,
Right.
but we're approving a
That's what I'm
half
talking
bath,
about.
but I'm saying we can condition it as a half bath.
I don't think that we should be in the business of making rulings on something that may or may not happen in the future. I think
I
we
agree.
condition things,
As
As
submitting your application?
what they've put on the application, and condition it, no shower, no
voting on this
conversion to bedrooms in there, no
Who's
conversion
voting
to
on this?
living space. It's a garage
Okay.
with a lavatory, which is a sink and whatever we show on the plan.
Sink in the toilet.
And completely excluded in the ruling or in the motion from being anything other than that. We can't do anything about people that are gonna break the law anyway.
I agree, and I appreciate those comments, and if I could maybe have one more run at Mr. Furbush. By having this recorded, it actually provides the town, the building commissioner, and the Board of Appeals more protection, because let's assume for a moment Mr. Roach was not a law-abiding citizen and didn't hire me to come to the board to ask for permission for this bathroom, but just built it after the fact, and then went further and put in an apartment that we're also concerned about. The neighbors might never know because they're gonna see the house under construction, they're not gonna be able to distinguish. But with a permit recorded with conditions, anyone in the neighborhood, the building department can basically say, this was what was allowed, and what's there is not in compliance, and they're subject to zoning enforcement. So there's actually more protection by having this finding on the record against potential future violations than not.
I agree with you, but right across the street from my house in down two, a nice house was built. It was approved for 3 bedrooms. They put in 4. It was sold. The whole thing was dropped. They had to rip it out. Happens every day.
Well,
Well, we can't,
my clients are, like I said, they
Nothing,
hired me to.
you know, it doesn't matter if it's X, Y, or Z. It's just happening everywhere, and it's nothing against the clients.
Well, I think with something on record at the registry of deeds, at a closing, none of the lawyers gonna see that.
Well, this was approved for a 3-bedroom house, and it turned into 4 within a month after it was,
Right,
got an occupancy
but on a
permit.
very practical level, excuse me, when attorneys do closings, they look at the records at the registry of deeds. They don't go look at the building department and the plans. So if somebody had plans, excuse me, if somebody had plans and they deviated from them, it would be a pretty savvy lawyer that would figure that out. But if there's a document on record that they find in the title search and it says only a bathroom, then they can easily ask the realtor or the buyer, did you go look at the garage, what's in there? And if there's any more than a bathroom, it's gonna be immediately a problem because of that thing that's recorded at the registry. And that's our argument. I'm not gonna persuade you, Mr. Furbush, but I would just argue that with something on record that spells out the details, I think the board should.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Accommodate that.
Question through the chair, directed to you, sir. Are your clients planning on heating the inside of that garage? Is it going to be conditioned space?
yes, it will be.
There we go.
But that, are you gonna do like a Modine?
Yes,
That's
that's
a
what,
ceiling mounted, it's not the type of heating system you put in a finished, it's, because he has cars in there, it's gonna heat his garage.
Keep it at
Garage,
50 degrees.
it's legal to put garage heaters in, there are different type of heating systems than a forced hot air or forced
fine.
exhaust system.
I'm
Yeah,
just saying,
I'm just not in
I know
favor.
where you're going, but I'm just telling you my opinion.
I'm just
Let me
adding
ask you-
information to the board that nothing beyond, there we go.
So according to this bylaw, number K on page 25, it's not allowed. Is that correct?
Yeah.
No, on page 25, what that does is if it says where a use is not specifically listed in the section 174-25 Table of Use Regulations, said use may be allowed if a finding is made by the zoning board of appeals that said use may be allowed in a specific district on the basis that it is substantially similar in its construction, operation, traffic, environmental impact to a specific use allowed as of right or by special permit in said district, and is substantially dissimilar in those respects from any uses prohibited in the district.
So it needs a variance or a special permit?
I didn't say variance. It says a finding. It says, I gotta go back again here. Maybe if a finding is made by the zoning board of appeals, but it says, where I brought up the thing about the special permit, it's when they're talking about similar uses which are allowed either by right or by a special permit, the ZBA can act on that. So that's what that tells me. So basically, we're looking at here is a finding.
My opinion is, if you're worried about them finishing, not them, shouldn't say them, anyone finishing the space, it doesn't make a difference if they wouldn't even come for the half bath, they're just gonna go finish the space on their own anyway. Whether or not they have a half bath or not, but they're just gonna finish the space, they're gonna do it illegal, they're gonna do it illegal. So, the fact that they're going through the legal way of just trying to put a half bath in, I don't have an issue with it. Could they go down and decide to finish it? Who knows? They might not. We can't control that. But they could do that without even asking for the half bath.
Sharon, what do you think?
Well, my question to Scott is, the type of heating system that you're describing would not sustain the plumbing in the winter. They'd have to winterize it.
No, if it keeps it at 50, it would be a challenge, it would be risky. It'd be risky. I have a Modine in my shop, and this winter, my meter froze. Modine type meter. My meter froze when that real cold snap we had. It's not like a four-star air system or four-star water system, it's a much different heat rate.
Yeah,
I don't even know if that's what you're putting in. I assume you're not putting a four-star air system in the house.
No,
You're gonna hang it.
it would be Modine heaters on
Yeah.
the garage, would be winterized, so there's no water running through there.
You're gonna drain this down in the winter?
Trying to drain it down in the winter.
I could
We're
condition
we're
that too.
keeping
but plumbing has to
the
be-
vehicles at 50 degrees, that's the only intent.
Brad?
I would tend to agree with Scott on that one. As long as they're using the Modine type heaters, that's not really conducive to living area.
Exactly. And that falls under, if I condition it upon a finished living space, you're not gonna put that type of heat on a finished living space.
Jim?
I tend to agree with my prior colleagues, unfortunately.
No, that's why this,
I hate overturning a finding by the building inspector.
We're not.
We're not.
And,
He's doing what he.
Haven't got that far yet.
He had to do what he had to do, because that's the way the bylaw was written. He couldn't approve it the way it was.
but, you know, as long as there's not a shower in there, not a kitchen, not, maybe what's refrigerated for beer, other than that, I think that's not inappropriate as a request for anything. But it's specifically what's going to be in the laboratory, toilet, the sink.
all right, other comments before we read some stuff in? Anybody? All right. Sharon, do you want to read inspections?
401 Model Square Road. The area is zoned R3 in a pre-contact archaeological sensitivity area listed as park. The applicant is seeking an administrative appeal to the building inspection to his decision regarding the construction of a lavatory in a proposed detached garage. They are also seeking a finding to allow them to install a lavatory in a proposed detached garage under Article 174-24K of the Town of Mashpee zoning bylaws. The applicant submitted a plan for a detached garage which showed a lavatory to be installed within said structure. In accordance to Article 174-25 table of use of regulations, this type of use is not listed as permitted. I denied that portion of the permit and suggested that they appeal my decision as well as seek a finding under Article 174-24K of the Town of Mashpee zoning bylaws, which states, where a use is not
Specifically,
listed in the Article 174-25 Table of Use Regulations, said use may be allowed if a finding is made by the zoning board of appeals. That said use may be allowed in a specific district on the basis that it is substantially similar in its construction, operation, traffic, and environmental impact to a specific use allowed as of right or special permit in said district and is substantially dissimilar in those respects from any use prohibited in the district. Sincerely, Michael Mendoza, Building Commissioner.
Okay, we have a Board of Health. Yeah, it's no comment from the Board of Health.
Conservation, because it's not outside, probably doesn't.
no, I think it's conservation, okay.
All right, so we need to make a motion.
You
And
have
we'll
two
make a
of them.
motion on yours
Administrative.
first, the administrative appeal. So do you know how to make, we don't have the wording for making the motion, do we?
Am I making a motion on,
One at a time.
but I don't know what the first one is.
Whether you're going to uphold my appeal or overturn my appeal.
Motion to overturn, and then we do everything in the positive, so I'll try and do this motion if you want me to.
Please.
Okay, make a motion for 401 Monomoskoye Road. Petitioners Robert and Donna Roach, trustees, request for an administrative appeal to the building commissioners, building commissioner under MGL 40, chapter 40A, sections 8 and 15. Let me just make sure I get it all right. The trustees are seeking the zoning board of appeals to overturn the building inspector's, the building commissioner's decision to allow for construction of a lavatory in their detached garage. Make a motion to approve that request, to overturn the building inspector.
Second.
Okay,
Voice vote.
yeah, absolutely. So this is
To overturn.
a vote to overturn Mike's. So we have a second. Bill, how do you vote?
I vote no.
To overturn, yes or no?
Vote no. Not to overturn.
Not to.
We made a motion to overturn. I'm saying I don't agree. No.
Okay, I'm saying, I want to make sure I'm doing this right.
Do you want to overturn it?
I want to overturn his decision so we can.
No.
That's
We're
it.
doing two different filings here. One is to overturn his decision. If we vote to overturn his decision, we don't need a second
Correct.
filing.
You don't have to do K.
That will come second.
Okay, so I won't go. Vote no.
It's Jim
No,
and Sharon,
No.
and I'm no. Okay, what's the second motion?
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
You're doing fine.
I make a motion to approve the trustees' request of the Board of Appeals to grant a finding to allow them to install a lavatory in their detached garage under section 174-24K on property located in the R3 zoning district, map 124, page 64, I'm sorry, what?
parcel 64.
Parcel.
Map 64, Mashpee, Mass. with the following conditions. Can you read those in?
Condition on all town department comments. Condition that the garage not be finished with a bedroom or any type of living space. That the proposed bathroom be approved as a half bath consisting of a lavatory and a toilet. No shower will be allowed.
What about kitchen?
What about kitchen?
Well, that would kind of, no kitchen facilities.
What
That'd
about,
be part
The
of
heating system?
what about draining the heat, or whatever you're talking about?
Well, I don't have any problem with the heating system.
Yeah.
It's in there.
No, but you want to maintain that heating system,
He
or?
has to stay on year round, whether or not it's up to him if he wants to drain his, so it doesn't freeze. I don't see that has to be conditioned that way. I don't think we have to condition that he has to drain his plumbing.
No, we were talking about the heating system. Did you want to make sure it doesn't go beyond the Modine heater, or?
Or similar in nature.
Okay. Condition that the heating system be a Modine, that's a brand name. Type
Or
Hey.
similar.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how you condition it, say not a forced hot air, not a forced hot water system, it's a closed system, just a conditioned system.
Nothing other than a
Nothing other than
Modine
a-
type.
Gas fired,
Modine type.
Modine style heating system.
Yeah, and can there just be, because it's a brand name.
I know it's a brand name, I'm not sure. what the
Style.
brand name is.
Yeah, or similar or something. like
Yeah,
that.
or
that's what it was saying, similar.
That's what I said, Modine's a brand, I'm not sure the actual term, it's a forced hot water system. but
Modine type heating system or similar.
Modine type heating system also.
Okay. We got everything on there?
I think so.
I think so.
Okay, well-
Pretty much back them in.
All right, I'm looking for a second here.
Second.
Okay, let's do a voice vote. Bill?
Yes.
You
Yes.
approve?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna vote no. But it passes 4-1.
4-1.
Thank you.
Okay, good luck.
Well, it's just a condition.
Oh, jeez. Did the conversation be longer?
No, I meant to make those motions.
Oh, all right.
He's good. He did wonderful.
Oh, you did a fine
I
job.
think you wanted to be an attorney or someday or something.
Well,
This
we
is-
can all tell Mr. Bonvy
No.
that two
This
people
is
did do his job tonight.
I couldn't
Why?
have the second one, the first one.
Yeah, but it took half the
I
time.
couldn't even figure out, I didn't know how to vote.
Everything that was
Bill,
advertised.
it took half the time.
You had to have two separate ones, there was two requirements.
That's the problem.
Still confused.
Not really, they'll just have to come in later and do the other one.
Okay.
All right, so just redo it, to have it two separate. Do I have to stamp these? I guess I still do, right?
Yeah.
All right. Can make sure.
Oh, I guess.
So it's going to be,
Those are probably-
One for the administrative appeal,
one's supposed to be an appeal and one's for a finding.
yes.
What time,
Okay.
Mary Ann, what time is the board of selectmen meet?
I
I
think,
think it's 6 o'clock.
It's usually 6.
is it six?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will you send me a,
So what's next? Do we need to sign some stuff off?
Yeah. this
Well-
is-
It was all put together, it's gonna have to be separated because there are two different issues.
Okay, so we're gonna redo the paperwork, sign it later?
Yes.
Let me
I
ask
do-
Mary Ann a question. Is there an issue with a re-advertising of this now that we've approved one of them?
I think, no, I think because it
No,
was
okay.
in the,
It's addressed, it's only if it's different.
Okay.
Yeah, it was publicized.
Right.
Yeah.
Properly publicized, but it's just a sign off.
Right,
It's all good jointed, it has to be separated, because one's the administrative appeal, and then the other is the finding.
yeah.
So that's all it
I have
is.
the appeal if you want to sign that, but I'll need, everyone that's voting on the finding to come in and sign the
That's fine.
finding. Is that
Sign it
okay?
later.
Okay, so this is the appeal.
To the administrative appeal?
This is the one we voted no.
Yeah,
You have to sign the right place, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't sign Bonvi's name.
I already crossed him out.
Did you cross them up?
Yeah.
So this is a to deny, isn't it?
Mhm.
Aye, right.
That's why
Yeah.
I thought it had to be re-advertised.
No, that doesn't be, it's just like, if they're going for a special permit and variance, they're asking for two things.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so you have two separate
Is
ones.
there an issue that I sign this even though I voted against it?
Deny. Check
I think so, yeah,
Then,
yeah.
Sign those.
please.
Second line up from the bottom. And today is the 25th.
So,
August.
14? We talk about
August, oh, for the selectmen, it's August 6th. I'll send you the agenda,
Okay.
because they gotta send it to me, I told them to. Because they always forget me.
Thank you. All right.
Those pens are gonna freeze.
Yeah, he said he's gonna drink it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a condition on that, because that's his fault.
There you go. There you go.
Keep his Modine going, keep his cars. I understand, I wouldn't want to fire across the cars, I want to keep that 50 years still. I don't want to get that.
All right, Sharon, would you read the first other business?
Other business, board to confirm meeting date of Tuesday, August 14th at 6 PM regarding raise and replace bylaw.
Okay, so that's, I think we all kind of agreed. Does anybody have an issue with that date?
Great.
And I think we're going to get some participation from the planning board. I don't believe they're going to join us at this table.
Correct, that's my
They
understanding.
can sit in the audience, I think.
Yes.
And it's been advertised?
Not yet, actually, yes, it'll be in Friday's paper.
Okay?
So it's gonna be advertised like any other thing?
Yes.
Twice?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
All right, Sharon, next other business?
Move to approve July 11th, 2018 meeting minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, do we have any additional topics that we're going to discuss?
Yep.
Yeah, that.
Maybe you can give us some background, anybody.
I just
About
received this
how this-
today,
When did this show up?
on my desk today.
I'm not sure what this is all about.
It says appointment policy for boards, commissions, committees, and councils.
So does this take effect when when my term is up, or somebody's term is up, they need to be re-interviewed by the selectmen?
That's a good
My,
question.
my term was just up in July.
I think, I think the only person that they want to go in front of the selectmen is Jim, because he was voted to become a full board member.
Correct.
And that's, they told me that he probably would have to attend their meeting.
I do remember when I was an alternate way back, a long time ago, that I did have to appear in front of
You
the
did?
Board of
Okay.
Selectmen.
I didn't have to.
Okay.
I did, I remember.
No, to become a,
No, when I was an alternate, when I became a.
from an alternate to a permanent.
Okay, it's also on the website, it's posted 3 alternates and a full-fledged board member, they're looking for people.
Yes, they are.
So is the purpose of this to tell us what
Just
we
to
should
let
do
you
going
know.
forward?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. If you look at the very last page, which is why I'm not fully understanding why Jim has to go before the Board of Selectmen, because E, appointment notice. Upon appointment or reappointment to a board, commission, committee, or council, the appointee and the relevant chairperson shall be issued a notice of appointment / reappointment stating the term of said appointment. Town clerk shall keep records of all appointments and provide copies to the relevant chairperson in town manager's office. All appointees must subscribe to the oath of office for the position to which they are being appointed. This should be completed prior to any board, commission, committee, or council member actively participating in any deliberations. So I guess where my confusion is for Jim is why do you have to appear before the Board of Selectmen? Because that's not how I read this. It tells me that you shall meet before the town clerk, but but it's saying interview,
Read D.
after review of the candidates, but he's not a candidate, he's already here.
It makes no difference.
So to become an alternate, the new alternate would have to go to the board? After review of any candidates recommended for appointment to the board, commission, committee, or council, said candidates shall appear before the board of selectmen for a final interview at a regular scheduled meeting. Reappointments may not result in interviews by the board of selectmen.
Reappointments.
Reappointments.
That's where it is.
Well, see, it's not really a reappointment, it's an appointment as,
Full-time.
So that's probably what it is, because he's going to a full.
Right.
I think the last one, number 6, has to do with employees in this building, or,
Yeah, yeah.
because we're really not employees.
No,
I think it's a waste of time, because I don't need it. Complete waste of time.
Makes no sense.
so do I.
I mean, here's mine going, it's no big deal, but when they tell me I have to do this, I'm gonna be like,
My reappointment,
maybe I'm not coming back.
I can speak to my reappointment, which happened on, I'm not sure what date, but it did go,
This
it
year.
was on the agenda of the Board of Selectmen
Yeah,
that my term had expired and that they needed to vote to reaffirm my term for another 3 years. And they took the vote. Then I had to go to town clerk, get sworn in,
right,
and have this paper notarized.
okay.
Yeah, same thing happened with me.
Right.
So,
But to go from an alternate to a full member,
yeah,
do you have to go through the same procedure?
I only did it a year ago, I think I got mine
I
on,
went
2 years
through
ago,
the
I
same
didn't
thing.
have to.
I have the same paper.
yeah.
I didn't have it notarized, I didn't know.
I just wanted to sign
I know,
something.
I'm hoping that they're gonna confirm everything on, in a couple of days when I.
That's
find
review
out.
of any candidate's recommendation for appointment of the Board of Commissioners.
You're gonna do everything to the best of your ability, yes, okay, move on.
I know.
Yeah, but that's what Amy did.
Well, that's what you do when
When I went
you
in.
swear in.
Right,
It's the same thing as swearing in.
right.
Absolutely.
It's
The Board
very
of Selectmen
confusing.
just have to vote to put him on as a full member
Right.
for
That-
3 years,
that's what I-
for a 3-year term.
Right,
So-
that's what happened in the past, but,
Okay, it's just another step, I guess.
Where do you want this? Town hall. Maybe I did one. Maybe you knew me.
Good enough?
This time, you may be next.
I'm used to this.
Well, forget, we have
After,
had,
20 years I've been on board.
he's going from alternate to a full board, that's what he is to go. If we get reappointed, we don't have to go, do we?
Correct, that's what it says.
Right.
You don't have to go.
What did I just sign it, days ago?
that was your reappointment.
Yeah, I just went there.
Now, it says reappointments may not result in interviews by, may not.
Maybe not.
For Scott, they'll ask him in.
It's not do not, it's may.
May not, may not,
And it may and
may not. Depends on their feeling.
All right, so
I don't
About
think
enough?
on the reappointment.
Brad, what do you think?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good night.